This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have a return guest. In fact, this return guest is had me cameo thus far in 4 and soon to be 5 of his films. It was through Genevieve Rossi that I come in touch with this guy. And I'm talking about the wonderfully talented, innovative, very funny James Balsamo. How do you do, James?
Hey, everybody. It's great to be here with the Python. James Balsamo. We were super excited to do this lovely interview. Let's begin. How's your day going?
My day's going quite well, you know. I put in a day's work, and then I came here, and I did an interview just before yours, and got yours right on the spot here, and I'm like, cool, I can do that, and very happy.
Rack 'em up. Rack 'em up.
Rack 'em up. You're number 310.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you're
number.
Yeah. Well, first off, James, I want to express my gratitude of you doing the Doubtfire Face Challenge for suicide and depression awareness.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, I haven't got that public yet, but my brother does those up, and he's been busy taking care of my folks, so he hasn't had a chance to get at any of that, and he's the one that operates my YouTube, so we'll get it up there at some point there, and yeah, I really enjoyed your video of it, and I appreciate it. And of course, you threw the nominations out to 4 people. Yeah, do you think any of them will do it?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah?
It's a great cause. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's a great cause, but sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get people to respond to it, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, people are busy with their YouTubing and their own Facebooking, so... But I was happy to make the time to do it, so...
Yeah?
And, I hope everybody stays safe out there. Remember, suicide is never the answer. There's always somebody who can talk to you.
That's right. Well, you know what? It's interesting, you know. You've done a handful of films, you know, and it's funny because at the time I was working nights, like back shift. And I come up here, I was working in this building, and I just come up here, have my lunch in the spare studio back there where we're allowed, and I just saw an email from you. It was like 4 in the morning, so it would have been midnight where you were. And I thought it was funny because I didn't expect this. You asked me if I would mind filming my own death scene for Cool as Hell 2. And I was flabbergasted. I gawked at that email for a long time, and I knew you'd be up, so I gave you a call. What made you think to ask me to do that? Because I've seen the kind, I've seen the kind of people cameoing in your movies. I'm like, why me?
I know you're such a talented man. I couldn't resist but have you in Cool as Hell 2. In stores everywhere now, featuring the lovely Linnea Quigley, Michael Berryman, Phil Anselmo, Sam Pantera, me, and the Python himself. So go out and go to AcidBathProductions.com, get your copy of Cool as Hell 2, featuring all those amazing people, including the Python and me. And that's available in Walmart, and Best Buy, Barnes & Noble, and all their major chains. I'm sure you could get that in Canada.
Yeah.
Also available here in the U.S. So run out and go see Greg. Be amazing and Cool as Hell 2.
Well, you know what? It was interesting because I'm no actor, but I saw the first Cool as Hell, and I was like, I can get into the spirit of this. Like, I knew if I kept it short, it wouldn't matter how bad my performance was, you know. I would kind of blend in with the style of humor and style of film that you were doing. Because you don't look like you're taking yourself seriously. And obviously, like, I consider you the self-aware Tommy Wiseau. You're not trying to make art. You're just trying to have fun and have an experience. Did I hit it on the head there?
Oh, totally. Life's all about experience.
Yeah.
Live for the moment. Have fun what you do. Enjoy every moment of it.
I find it funny. Tom Savini is in Cool as Hell, and his name is like right there, top center on the poster, and it's like he's only in it for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, so that's an old exploitation marketing ploy. It's been done for centuries of filmmaking. You get a really famous actor, you pay them a very little amount of money, and then you put their name on top. That's what helps sell the movie, and that's what makes people buy the movie, because they see Tom Savini's in it, and I only have to pay him a little bit of money. It's a business technique, a little Hollywood secret for you, Greg. And then people go, wow, Tom Savini's in this. And then people come up to him in conventions, and he's like, yeah, I'm not really in that movie. I'm in it for like 1 second. And people say, oh, he's only in it for 1 second. But I combated that complaint for my next movie with Eric Roberts, who stars in the entire film. My new movie, It Wants Blood, coming out this summer. We shot 4 days with Eric Roberts. So Eric Roberts, you see through the whole movie, Greg.
Yeah.
Him from the opening to the ending credits, so nobody could say that anymore. Hey, why is Tom Savini on the cover and he's only in it for 1 second? Eric Roberts stars in It Wants Blood. I got so tired of that question, because it's an old Hollywood technique, that I actually spent lots of money to have Eric Roberts come for 4 days and star in my new movie, It Wants Blood. So go check that out. It's going to be amazing. It's got great effects by Joe Castro, and it's a mind-blowing monster movie starring Eric Roberts throughout the whole film, Greg.
Yep.
His name is on the cover, and he's in it from the opening to the closing. Are you blown away? Are you excited about that?
I'm really excited that I'm in scenes with him, and I didn't even have to appear on set.
That's right.
We'll get to It Wants Blood in a minute. I want to talk a little bit about Cool as Hell too, because actually, did you ever get criticized for like a lot of criticism over the Tom Savini thing?
No, not really. I mean, most horror fans just want to see boobs and blood. I know that's what I want to see. What makes a good movie?
And then Tom Savini didn't have any, huh?
He did not have any boobs, but I did get a real sword for him to swing around, which I thought was pretty cool. So Tom Savini plays a demon slayer in the original Cool as Hell, and he's got this giant sword that we gave him, and he, says, I'll slay you, demon. And he's supposed to be the old demon slayer that inspires my character to fight demons all the way to the sequel, Cool as Hell 2. So Tom Savini, even though he's in it only for brief moments, he's still in the film, signed the release, on the cover, bam, he's in the movie. And that's how Hollywood works, Greg.
Who was the very first celebrity that you've approached to be in any of your films?
Lloyd Kaufman. I was working for Trauma as an intern when I was 18, and I had asked Lloyd if he would do a cameo, and they said, Lloyd will only do a cameo if you dress up like the Toxic Avenger and do this book signing and dance around with Lloyd. So after interning, I had to put on the Toxic Avenger mask and dance around to Barnes & Noble in Manhattan to have Lloyd do a cameo in my movie.
Well, I can tell you right now, Mark Togel is somebody you should look out for, because I just had him on the show here a couple of weeks ago.
Mark's great. I actually had a meeting with Mark a few months ago about distributing Toxic Tutu.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take it, and then a few months later, somebody else picked it up. So Mark's a great guy. I've done a show literally next to him. I did a Mad Monster Party in Arizona, and I spent the entire weekend next to Mark. He's a really funny guy. So,
did you wear the tutu?
Mark. I think you did.
No, you.
Oh, did I wear the tutu? I've worn the tutu. I've played the Toxic Avenger in 6 Trauma DVD intros. In my year of working for Trauma, I donned the tutu many a times, Greg. And even at a Rock and Shock convention in Boston, I did a Trauma promo with Tiffany Shepis somebody had stole something from Trauma at a convention, and then the guy returned it, and so they wanted to do some kind of video about that, and they asked me to dress up as Toxie one more time. And so I did an official Trauma promo with Tiffany Shepis in the tutu once again. So yes, I have worn that tutu many times.
You go get Mark Togel in one of your movies?
I hope so. Like I said, Mark's a really great guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to put Mark in something.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. Well, you know what?
I love him kissing that sheep in the Toxic Avenger, Greg. That's my favorite.
Gee, he did not enjoy the experience, I'll tell you that.
Oh, no?
No.
Or did the sheep bite him?
No, the sheep was crawling with stuff, and wasn't exactly a clean sheep, according to his story, so.
Right. When is there a clean sheep? That's what I want.
Well, you know, I was happy to be part of Cool as Hell 2, and my scenes are pretty much the same in all your movies, but that's kind of because I'm a little limited, but I think they're entertaining enough. I get my younger brother to film those, and me and my coffee and ranting, and I think I make those work pretty well. But when I interviewed Linnea Quigley, who I met at Horrorama last year, I was interviewing her, and I told her, I said, we're in a film together. And she goes, what?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Uh-huh.
She enjoyed the experience.
Right.
Yep.
She's great.
Oh, Linnea is wonderful. In fact, I told her that her scene kind of inspired my scene.
Right.
Yep. But, you know, you had some people in there that I like Frank Mullen as Sal. I mean, I love just listening to that guy swear.
Yeah. Frank's amazing. Frank's been in almost every movie I've done except for Hack Job. So,
does he swear in all of them?
He swears in every goddamn one of them, Greg.
Oh man, that guy's like a crossword puzzle of swear words.
That's right.
He'd make Samuel Jackson blush with envy.
Right.
Yeah, he's somebody I like, and I know Billy Walsh as the demon.
Uh-huh.
Does he still help you bath?
Oh yeah.
He still gets in the shower and helps you with those out of reach spots.
Right.
I like that scene. I'm here to help you with those out of reach areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Dave Stein, of course, as the Lich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to get some of these people on my show here eventually. I haven't reached out to them yet, but I know their names are prevalent through a lot of your films, and me having them on the show will get them a little more exposure, you know, so.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Billy and Dave would love to do it.
Yeah. What about Frank?
Yeah, Frank would probably love to do it, too. Frank, you know, just got married a few weeks ago.
Oh, gee. Did he swear when he said his vows?
I believe he did, and he even played a Suffocation song at his own wedding.
Yeah, I like Frank Mullen, you know, like just watching him come in there. I mean, there's a scene where, of course, where he's in hell and he's just chewing out all the demons down there.
Right.
Yeah, but no, you got some good people in this. Michael Berryman, of course, playing the devil, and you got Deborah Rashawn. What was Deborah Rashawn rubbing all over your face? I mean, you seem to broke character. You could see you trying to stifle a laugh there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was chocolate pudding. You know, it's supposed to be mule shit to protect me from the donkeys. So Debbie Rashawn and Carmen are like Carmen Capobianco, who's in Cycles in Love, and Galactic Gigolo, which is a full moon movie. You know, are rubbing supposedly donkey garbage all over my face, but it's just chocolate pudding. And then afterwards, they both, you know, took a photo where they're like licking it off of my face. So that's a fun picture.
You look like in one part of that where you're both to laugh.
Yeah, well, you know, Carmen and Debbie are so funny. It's really hard to do a scene with them when they're acting like so silly. It's just it's so.
Yeah, very, very
They're-
funny. Yeah.
It's such a fun experience. And it's hard to play the straight.
Well, where did you approach Michael Berryman and Linnea Quigley to be in your film? Did you meet them at a convention?
And finally, when I was in New Jersey, I had asked her to be in one. And she's a good friend of my buddy Sean from the VHS Preservation Society. Shout out to my buddy Sean.
Okay.
And Sean said, "Hey, I'm good friends with Linnea. Let's make this happen." And it was a done deal. And that was it. And now every time I see Linnea Quigley, she goes, "Badger spray."
Yeah, she and I talked about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll never forget, I tell a lot of bad puns and bad jokes, and I like to tell that old joke where you rub a jacket and you say, "Is this felt?" And the person goes, "No." And then I go, "Well, it is now." So Linnea Quigley loves that joke, and she had me do it to Beverly Randolph from Return of the Living Dead. So I'm standing there with Linnea, and she's like, "You got to do the felt joke to Beverly." And it's funny, Beverly's good friends with Frank Mullen from Suffocation, too. It's such a small world.
Yeah.
Small world, yeah.
Well, I liked Michael St. Michael's, who not.
Yeah, the Greasy Strangler, and he's in the video Dead, which is one of my favorite 80s zombie movies. So it was really cool to have him do a cameo with Phil Balsamo from Pantera. I really like getting multiple celebrities to do a scene together. Like in my film Catch of the Day, which I'm doing the sequel to now, Catch of the Day 2, Jimmy Duvall from Independence Day, Kevin Van Hendrick from Basket Case, and John Carl Buechler Jr., who unfortunately just passed away earlier this year, director of Friday the 13th Part 7 and creator of The Ghoulies, and me are all in a scene together in Catch of the Day.
And you have Jake the Snake Roberts and Jason Mewes and Tuesday Night and Jennifer Bonco.
Yeah, Jennifer's great.
Yeah. What was it like working with Jake the Snake Roberts?
Jake was great. He had a broken arm, unfortunately, when we filmed, so I couldn't have him really do too much crazy stuff. So he plays a car salesman in Catch of the Day.
Does he DDT you and put a snake on you?
Like I said, he couldn't really do much because of that broken arm. So
yeah, but that's what they say about Terry Funk, and look how many times he throws himself into burning barbed wire fences.
That's true. I filmed with Balls Mahoney from ECW and I Spill Your Guts, and he also came to set with a broken arm. He had broke his arm in a chair fight the night before, where the audience, throws in a bunch of chairs. And somebody had hit him right in the forearm, and the bone was like, Greg, almost sticking out of his arm. But the craziest part is that after we filmed, somebody mentioned that I had wrestled in high school, and Balls Mahoney wanted to wrestle me. And so I'm wrestling Balls Mahoney while he has a broken arm, and he's like, "Don't you dare hold back, James. Don't go easy on me because I have a broken arm." And I pinned Balls Mahoney not once, but twice with a broken arm. I felt so bad because he had a broken arm. But I wrestled varsity in high school, and I'm actually in a book because I had pinned somebody in 13 seconds. So, I was like a serious wrestler in high school, and here's this maniac, Balls Mahoney, who's like, "Come on," with a broken arm, and his bone is almost sticking out of his arm, and he's like, "Come on, we're going to wrestle."
Let's put you in there with Ronda Rousey and see how you do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. She got a raw deal, man. They built her up so much, and then she lost that match. It was a terrible shame that she didn't really get the coverage that she really deserved. But now she's an entertainer in the WWE, so I'm sure she's still a toughie. I certainly wouldn't want to go toe-to-toe.
Well, I know you had Nikolai Volkov.
Toe-to-toe, Greg.
I know you had Nikolai Volkov in Cool as Hell, too. What was it like working with him?
Yeah, amazing. I mean, also another shame that we lost him this year also. But I was honored to work with him. And he's another guy, like an old school guy that's stiff. when he gives me that bop on the head in Cool as Hell 2, he gave me a stiff shot. You know what I mean? So, he really funny guy, really enthused to be asked to be in a movie, and like I said, old school, a stiff hitter.
You go get the Iron Sheik?
You know, I had met the Iron Sheik at a Mad Monster party a few months ago. I thought about it. You know, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. Really funny. I love his stuff on the Howard Stern Show.
Get him on your show. Get him in one of your movies. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Let him ad-lib. Just let him.
Yeah, really funny guy. Really fun, nice guy. I got a good photo with the Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter. Somebody who turned me down to be in a movie. I had asked him a few years ago, and he didn't want to do it. So, since he was with the Sheik, you know, I didn't really feel like getting into it. I mean, it'd be a hell of a three-way match, though, huh, Greg?
Yeah.
Me versus the Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter. Could you imagine me in the camel clutch and the cobra clutch at the same time?
So Sergeant Slaughter turned you down?
He did. He did. He didn't want to do it. I don't think he really, you know, got a good grasp of what it was. And this was maybe 3 or 4 films ago, so I'd only made maybe 2 or 3 films at the time. Okay. Now that I've made 14 feature films, who knows? Maybe he'd change his mind.
Well, I'm really sad that we lost Rowdy Roddy Piper, but I did a tribute interview on him where I had his son Colt and daughter Ariel on the show, and Ariel is really, really funny. I think she's somebody you should get in one of your movies.
Yeah, I'd love to get her in something.
Yeah, like if you've seen her movie Psycho Sleepover, I think you would really dig dig what she can do. Yeah.
Great.
But I'm trying to think. The Winkler girl, the tattoo girl. What's her first name?
Caroline Winkler.
Where did you find her?
I've known Caroline for a few years from conventions. She does taxidermy, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, she's done some big makeup videos for those cover-up makeup, tattoo cover-up tutorials, and all that stuff. So, you know.
But so
and she's stunning. You know,
actually,
sweet and
yeah. Well, where did you meet her to approach her to be in your film?
Well, she was dating a friend of mine, Neil, from a clothing company I can't remember the name of because I'm a bad friend.
Are you going to use her again?
Western Evil, that's it. I remember now. See, I'm a good friend, Neil. There it is. Western Evil. Check out their stuff. Pretty cool. He made this fun Zodiac t-shirt that I have. I like Neil. But yeah, Neil and Caroline were dating. Since then, I believe they are no longer together. So, you know, I'm sure Caroline has enough DMs in her inbox, so what's one more, right?
Are you going to use her again?
I hope so. I don't know if she's still doing the circuit because she's not with Neil. I mean, she's gone pretty radio silent since her and Neil split up, so I have no idea, honestly, Greg. This is a raw interview. I'm giving you all the real answers. I'm telling you how it is. Let it be known that James Balsamo is from New York, and you get no baloney from me. You want a question, I'll give you the damn answer. I don't care.
You're from New York, and you're in L.A., and Genevieve Rossi went from L.A. to New York. Now, I thought you two were supposed to do all your stuff together since the cornfield meeting.
Great.
It's funny. She's in Cool as Hell too, and I don't think she even realized she was in it. She actually asked me about her scene.
Yeah.
Was that from another movie or what?
Well, she had come to L.A. She's a character. Sweet. I've known Genevieve a long time, and she was upset that a lot of her scenes from The Lich got cut out. And the truth was that the audio was really bad. We had filmed, before we had started the real production of The Lich, we had filmed in a hotel in New York, and I was in the middle of moving out to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And so Genevieve came down from New Jersey to be in The Lich in a hotel that we filmed in Long Island. And the audio, I just didn't have good audio. We were like under the gun. I was still testing the makeup for The Lich. It took me like 2 hours to apply the Lich makeup. And Genevieve's scenes were just, the audio was rough. So I had used just a little bit of what I could in The Lich. And she was upset about that, as any actor or actress is. You know, they want the most footage that they could get. So her stuff wasn't really usable from The Lich, and she had sent me a message and was kind of demanding, like, you better use that footage of The Lich in Cool as Hell 2. And like I said, the audio was really bad. And she had come out and filmed something quick in L.A. She stopped by and saw me and filmed something in a bikini, but also that footage wasn't great. It was kind of garbage footage. So I had some extended sex scene footage from I Spill Your Guts. When I had made I Spill Your Guts, we had filmed what you see in Cool as Hell 2, an extensive sex scene with her and Billy Walsh, because it was supposed to be a ghost sex scene. And all of that mostly made it on the cutting room floor. But now it is revived in Cool as Hell 2. So Genevieve really demanded footage. She really wanted to see herself in a movie, and she had asked me to use old footage. So what's better than a naked Genevieve Rossi in my new movie, Cool as Hell 2? So Genevieve is butt naked in Cool as Hell 2, and you can get that in stores anywhere, all over the world, Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble. And I'm so happy to have Genevieve Rossi in another movie. It's always a real pleasure working with her. She's such a talented actor.
Yeah, I've had her on here twice, but I don't recall seeing her naked in this movie.
Cool as Hell 2? Go back and watch it.
Yeah, well, I've watched it twice now. I seen her sitting in front of the Lich where she goes, says something as a gypsy girl and about the Lich.
You don't even recognize her. It's some of the porn that Bougar puts on the TV.
Oh, by the way, Bougar, where does he come up with porn when this poor guy... Hey, it's Bougar. I got some porn.
Yeah, Bougar, you should call him Boobar, because he brings all of the porn to Benny while he's stuck in hell.
You know, you should do a combination movie with Bougar, the Lich, and Az.
I'd love to.
Yeah, for anybody listening, Bougar is James's booger.
I'd love to get Spat in there from Bite School, the talking bat in the Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, there's another one. I didn't see Bite School yet. Although John Dugan, he enjoyed making the movie, but he did take some issues about ending up doing it for free or something like that. Did you ever hear anything about it?
John Dugan's a character, man.
Yeah.
So my buddy Brian Stewart, who's an artist, he does stuff for Kiss.
Yeah.
And he did stuff for Fangoria before they changed hands. And Brian's a cool guy. He's done some cool art for me. So Brian is good friends with John Dugan.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, hey, John, do you want to be in a scene with me in James's new movie, Bite School? And, you know, John was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I don't think he realized it was like a real movie. I think he thought I was just some jerk with a camera making a home video, and he didn't realize it was my 6th feature film with worldwide distribution. And so he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then he started seeing the movie was everywhere. And, you know, John's grandpa from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so of course people are going to know when he's in an actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
So then he was like, I mean, the movie was mentioned in Playboy magazine. It was on IMDb's top 10 horror movies of 2015. And here is John thinking, wow, this movie's making millions of dollars, and I did it for free. I must be some kind of jerk. And so, every time I see John, he's friendly, but he's always like, fool me once. I'll never do another cameo for you for free, because he thinks I'm some multi-millionaire or some big Hollywood filmmaker, and he's right. So, a poo-poo on you, John Dugan. Do your homework a little bit before you start saying yes to handsome, cunning filmmakers like myself.
Yeah, I liked John. John didn't say anything negative about the film, though, so...
What'd you say?
John didn't say anything negative about the film, though, so...
Oh, no, nothing negative about John. Like I said, Greg, this is me being real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you all the real answers. John Dugan just thought, hey, sure, I'll do this quick cameo. Who cares? And then the next thing he knows, his name is all over this movie. And so, I'm an exploitation filmmaker, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
I made a career out of using old-school exploitation tactics. That's what I do, and I do it well. And I've ascended among the ranks fairly quickly because of them. I try not to be arrogant. I try to be humble because it's a lot of work to make a movie, and anybody that's ever made a movie knows it's a lot of work. And now with digital filmmaking, every jerk and their mother can make a movie for little to nothing. And I come from an era right before that. I mean, I had to go to film school. My first movie got picked up into Blockbuster, and then literally 1 week later, Greg, Blockbuster went under.
Oh, wow.
Blockbuster was destroyed by Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And now people only care if you have a movie on Netflix. And I had a movie on Netflix. Cool as Hell. The first one was on Netflix, on DVD, rental. I don't even know if they still do that anymore. But I believe it had a 6-month run on Netflix. You know what I mean? So, what are you going to do, Greg? What are you going to do?
Another one in this movie, Melanie Peng. She was the one that played your girlfriend in the Cool as Hell 2,
Uh-huh.
She was funny.
She's great. I was on an air. I was flying somewhere, and I saw her in a commercial for some insurance company. The plane movie started, so she's working. Good to see her and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about It Wants Blood, which
All right.
I'm really looking forward to this because, holy cow! I mean, two very pretty much the same scene, but split into two parts. One earlier on and one later on. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm honored. I'm going to be in a film with Eric Roberts. Thank you.
Oh yeah, my pleasure, Greg. Happy to have you on board.
Well, talk about the process of getting Eric Roberts in this film.
Again, I've known Eric from conventions for years. We did a show in Kansas, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been trying to get him in a movie ever since. And I got him. And I got him for 4 whole days. So he's not in the movie for just a second or a walk-on cameo. He stars in It Wants Blood. He plays Senator Dusang,
Mm-hmm.
who is running for re-election. And he goes to Africa to get a little beast that grows into a mighty god to give him the power to win this re-election. And the beast is called the Ndoto. That is Swahili for nightmare, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts feeding people this creature.
Well, I've interviewed Troy Froman, who was in this as well.
Yeah, Troy's great. He was the bully on Saved by the Bell, and he's in Darkman.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a real sweet guy.
And of course, I got to mention Sean Doucette. I mean, I find it so odd. You got two of us from New Brunswick cameoing in your movie. I'm from Fredericton. He's from Moncton. I thought, what a small friggin' world when I found that out. And I had him on here. He had a great cameo in Cool as Hell too.
Yeah, it's an incredibly small world.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It really is.
Yep. And I know Sean is quite excited to. How many movies have you got Sean in now?
I think he's in the same as you, 4 right now.
Okay. All right. Well, he was. He's also involved in It Wants Blood. And I gotta bring up. I just noticed recently you got Brink Stevens. Whom I
That's right.
really would love to get on this show, but I don't know if I can make that happen. But talk about getting her in your movie.
I met Brink a few years ago at a show in L.A. while I was still living in New York. And my artist who made the monster, Joe Castro, actually reintroduced me to Brink at my buddy's movie premiere for Blind. My buddy Joe Netter wrote this horror movie starring Sarah French called Blind. I believe that's coming out soon. So, anyway, Joe introduced me to Brink. I'm sorry, I gotta call on the other line. It's all right. That's a beeping in my ear. That's on my end. So Joe Castro reintroduced me to Brink Stevens. He said he's known her since he's been 15. He won a contest in a monster magazine to come out to L.A. to meet Brink and some other scream queens, and he's known her since he's 15.
Wow.
He's been in a bunch of his movies. So Joe was like, you have to put Brink in something. And of course, I love Brink Stevens' work. I'm a big fan of Nightmare Sisters and all of the amazing 80s schlock that she's been naked in. So it was great to finally put her in a movie. She's real sweet.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart.
How much of It Wants Blood is she in?
She's in 2 scenes.
Okay.
She plays an anger management counselor. So get this, Craig, when I pitched her the idea, she said, I've been in over 200 movies, James, and I've never played an anger management counselor. I would love to be in your new movie, It Wants Blood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would love to get her on the show, but I've been talking to the guy representing her, and I don't know what the issue is, whether she, I don't bite, but I don't know whether it's she's not good at these or whatnot. I mean, I've heard good things about her, but I think you told me before that when you get people mostly to improvise, it wasn't the case with her, huh?
No, she really wanted dialogue, and so I had written dialogue for her literally the night before, and she came to set and she memorized the whole thing. It was like 2 pages of dialogue, and she nailed it. She knew every line. It was incredible. And my editor, Caleb Emerson, who's the editor for Tosh.0, said that her acting was so spot on that all the match cuts are perfect because she had the same movements for every take. I mean, that's what an all-star actor Brink Stevens is. And
you got Ola Ray, who, of course, is famous for the Thriller video. Talk about getting her.
Yeah. Ola Ray was great to work with. I mean, such an iconic music video. It's a shame, Michael Jackson's finally been exploited for the monster that he is, and that the music is kind of tarnished because he is such a monster. And having her be part of such an iconic video, it's such a weird time to promote something like that. You know what I mean? It's, I seem to have a running gag of that happening to me. I get somebody really famous, and then they do something insidious or something comes up about them, and then I can't even promote that they're in the movie. So, but Ola Ray, she's also in 10 to Midnight, or what's that Charles Bronson movie that she's in?
I don't know, 10 to Midnight?
Something like that. Anyway, she's in a cool Charles Bronson movie. Charles Bronson makes this guy eat a watch. It's really funny. Anyway, but she was great to work with. She did one day, and then she was great.
You got Felissa Rose, of course, Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, yeah, I've known Felissa for a while from conventions also. And my buddy Evan McGarr, who runs Mad Monster Party, did a cameo, and we came with Felissa, and of course, they're both in a scene together. So really cool to work with them. I'm a big fan of Sleepaway Camp. I actually have that little light switch of Angela with the cutout for the light switch of the genitals.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, so it's the Sleepaway Camp Angela, and then the light switch is where the crotch is.
Okay. And Tuesday Night you've had in a couple of movies that I'm in as well. I've never had her on here either.
I have, yeah. Tuesday's great. She's in, Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in Catch of the Day with Jennifer Banco. She does a scene, the three of us do a scene together, me, Jennifer Banco, and Tuesday Night.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tuesday's also in Cool as Hell 2, where she does a commercial for coffee.
Yeah.
She says it's good day or night, Tuesday night. Get it? That's funny. And then she's also a reporter in It Wants Blood. So she interviews Eric Roberts, and then she talks about the monster at the end when it breaks loose, and it sets up the sequel. So
Okay.
Spoiler there.
Okay. You'll have to get me in the sequel as well.
Of course, yeah.
Listen, and then there's, of course, I don't know this actress, but I know she's popped up in a couple of your films. Michaela Moody. Talk about her.
Yeah, Michaela's great. Eben and I met her at the American Film Market last year, and then she started interning for Eben, and she was around the office, and I scooped her up. Oh, she was in Hanukkah. We used her apartment to film death scene in Hanukkah, and so we put her in Hanukkah, and I thought she's, a pretty young actress, and she's great. I said, hey, do you want to be in It Wants Blood? And I put her in that, and then she introduced me to Ash, who's the star of my co-star Catch of the Day 2, and so she is in Catch of the Day 2 with Ash, myself, and some other cool cats.
Talk about the special effects, because I know the budgets have been very low on your movies, but looking at the creature, pictures of the creature for It Wants Blood, I think it's like you're taking a little step up. You got Eric Roberts for 4 days, you got Brink Stevens in here, and a bunch of people, but the special effects look like they're a little step up from what we're used to from you. Talk about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I usually do the effects, and Joe Castro is taking over for It Wants Blood, and he blows me out of the water. I only made one severed head. I did a live cast of Hunter Wayne, who gets decapitated in the opening, and April Garcia did the airbrush and the hair and stuff for the head. And then Joe Castro made the monster, and he did most of the other blood and gore effects for the film, and they're incredible. I mean, Joe Castro, he did makeup for the Wishmaster sequels and Terror Tunes. He's just an incredible artist, and I'm really excited to work with him on some new stuff. Like my new movie, Hollywood Werewolf. It's going to be a real howl.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. It Wants Blood. I know Sean called me last night. We're going to try to get you some numbers from theaters here in Canada to see if this is one that you really want promoted in the theaters wide, huh?
Yeah, we're looking to do a worldwide theatrical release, so it'll be in theaters, select theaters, all over the world.
Yeah, have you ever did this before, or is this a first?
No, this is a first for me. So I've had worldwide distribution for almost 8 years. So all of my movies have been on cable TV on the U.S. and Canada, and on Netflix, and I've been mentioned in Time Magazine and Playboy Magazine and all sorts of great publications. And Fangoria did a 2-page interview with me for Killer Waves. But this is my first, big theatrical release. So
I should put you in touch with Chris Alexander. Speaking of Fangoria, because
yeah, I know Chris.
Well, he's the one that does Horrorama, which is the convention been going to for the past 2 years, and I'm going to again this year. So
Cool.
I met Chris in 2017 when I was Lisa Langlois' assistant at that event from class of 1984, and that was when I met Chris Alexander, and he didn't know my name when I went back the next time, but he definitely recognized me. He knew that I was Lisa's assistant at the event, so yep. So I'll be there again this year, and I'll see him again. So yeah, because I think it would be great if we could get It Wants Blood screened someplace up here, you know. So, but yeah. So I'm gonna try to get you some numbers that you can call, so you can get in touch with some of these head office theaters. So, but you also have, of course, I'm cameoed in Catch of the Day 2, You Die at Dawn. Yeah, and you had the cast in that first film, and of course you got Michaela Moody back for this one, and you've got I gotta be I don't want to be too political correct, but you got Gary, I guess Gary the Conqueror from the Howard Stern Show.
You guys call him Gary the Retard. That's what he's famous for, Greg. Stop calling punches. Let's call it how it is. That's what he's famous for.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Stern called him Gary the Retard. That's who he'll always be. And I'm excited to have him in Catch of the Day too. I
agree, but you know, this is where I have a real friggin' problem with the media, you know, because I just learned recently The Hunt with Emma Roberts, I guess, is not going to be released because of controversy and this and that. But yet Pure Flix will release some shit like Unplanned, and I guess that R-rated film's okay because it preaches to their choir. Yeah. So I really have no time for that, but Catch of the Day 2, I am definitely happy that I got to be part of that. And but did you meet Gary?
I didn't. Sean knew him, and Sean had him sign a release and send me the photo of him signing the release, which was cool. So it was cool to get him in the movie.
Now, how far are you in filming Catch of the Day 2? Is this in
Yeah, we're just about wrapped. We got a few more cameos to shoot. Nobody who I can announce officially yet. And then we're done, and it should hopefully be out before December.
Yeah, I got my name on this thing twice. They have an Internet Movie Database page. It said Python Gilbert Greg, which certainly wasn't right. Now I got Greg Python Gilbert, which is fine, you know, how I want it. And I had to get all my credits, because besides you, I got 13 Fanboy that I'm a co-producer on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. But this one here, outside Gary, I don't see, like, are you going to get some celebrity cameos in this?
Oh, yeah, it'll be riddled. Greg, I haven't made a movie yet without a ton of celebrity cameos. Of course, it's going to have.
So who are you approaching for this one?
I can't say yet.
Oh, you can't say yet.
I can't say yet.
Well, I don't see Gina Viva in here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she's so far away, and she's busy working on her own movie.
Yeah, but I was trying to talk you into getting her to do a scene where she beats you up, and she's and she's open to that.
That'd be great. I bet she is.
But no, Catch of the Day 2. Now, you up the production with It Wants Blood when you get Joe Castro on. How's this one in comparison to the first Catch of the Day?
Oh, it's got a ton of more action, more racist jokes. So the whole bit in the first Catch of the Day is the buddy cop comedy. It's Asian. So, you know, I tell every Asian joke in the book, and he busts my balls. Well, in this Catch of the Day 2, my partner is Indian. I mean, originally the film was going to be called Seek and Destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Catch of the Day 2. Yeah. because he's Indian. Sikh.
So why don't you have the other guy back?
Well, Jeff is busy in New York. He doesn't live out here anymore.
Okay.
He was actually just in the new Men in Black movie. He actually had a line. He was the first Asian Men in Black agent. So excited for Jeff. He's a good friend,
Okay.
And, Jeff was actually almost in bite school too, but he had a schedule conflict. So I commissioned this movie poster from Nathan Hamilton. He does a lot of the Scream Factory covers, and he did this great, poster with Jeff and me on the cover, and then Jeff couldn't do the movie. So then I had to repaint over Jeff's face with my buddy Paul Fears, who ended up taking over the role of my best friend in Bite School. And so since then, Jeff and I just have been on different schedules, and, but hopefully soon Jeff and I will do another movie, because Jeff is a really fun guy to work with, He's a really talented actor who takes his craft seriously. And like I said, he's in the new Men in Black, so it was cool to see him on the big screen.
I didn't see the new Men in Black, but nonetheless, it's great to see he's doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about Hollywood Werewolf, where I think my cameo has me with an avocado, I think, and a tomato.
Yeah, so there's a running gag throughout the film about this big movie that's coming out called The Life and Death of an Avocado, which is a nod to my first film, Hack Job, where me and Michael Shushanovich are playing angry horror film directors that are tired of art films getting all the credibility, and everybody, poo-poos on horror films. And so the movie opens with this pretentious filmmaker who we then cut off his face with a chainsaw. And the movie that he plays is called The Life and Death of an Avocado. So that's the nod to your cameo. And the premise of Hollywood Werewolf is that I play an old child actor who gets too old to do the same gimmick, and Hollywood says, that's it, you're washed up, you'll never work in this town again. And so while looking for a new gimmick, I get bit by a werewolf, and then through the amazing effects of Joe Castro, I will turn into a werewolf.
Are you going to do it like David Naughton did in American Werewolf in London?
Yeah. Joe is planning on going all out for this one. So.
I wonder how bizarre it's going to be for you to turn into a werewolf. I imagine you're going to make that funny.
Yeah, it's going to be a real howl.
You play, of course, Elliot Wolf. I like that name.
Yeah, Elliot Wolf, was a child actor, and now he starts eating all of these agents that said he'd never make it in Hollywood. And, the new movie, of course, that everybody's auditioning for is The Life and Death of an Avocado.
Well, I like that, and I enjoyed shooting my scenes for these, by the way, and I hope you never get bored of them, because I try to come up with something. I'm a little limited, but I'm really glad that you like what I'm doing with these, and I have a lot of fun shooting these, so I try to come up with something, and I try to improvise what I'm going to say, and my brother shoots it and sends it along to you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so I like that.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing with this. I love the fact that you're diving into different elements of horror. Of course, you do horror comedy, which I love. But here you get a werewolf movie, Killer Waves, you had something out in the water. Well, you do... you got zombie movies, you got Bite School, which you got vampires. I love the fact that you're kind of stretching all these horror monsters, So here you get a werewolf.
My first movie, don't forget, Hack Job, has mummies.
Mummies, okay.
Yeah.
You see, I love that about you, that you're kind of playing around with all the conventions and all the stereotypes and all the monsters and whatnot.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why It Wants Blood, I think, is going to be something to remember, because the monster is so different. You've never seen a monster like this before in a movie.
Oh, I've seen pictures of it. It does look great.
Thank you. Yeah, Joe Castro did an amazing job, and Alaric Baraka designed the creature. You know, I had told him what I wanted. So the monster is based off of an actual cryptic zoology beast called the Bruteslang, which is an elephant and a snake. You know, the gods said it was too powerful, so they separated it. But, of course, there's no real strong imagery of it, so I kind of had a gist of what I wanted, and with the help of Alaric, like, we made this really cool monster, and Joe Castro brought it to life. And not to mention Richard Svensson, who's a Swedish stop animator, did all the wide shots of the big creature. So when you see it as a full-bodied monster, it's stop animation from Richard Svensson, known as the Lone Animator, and he's a really talented guy. You know, I would say he's a modern Ray Harryhausen for sure.
I've done 2 tribute interviews on Ray Harryhausen. I grew up, to this day, love Clash of the Titans, his version.
Me too. It's a brilliant piece of cinema.
Yep.
And that's all because of Harryhausen. So
I love Clash of the Titans and
blood.
What's that?
I said It Wants Blood is, you know, it's got nods to Harryhausen and old monster movies like the late Larry Cohen's Q, The Winged Serpent. I love stuff like that. So, you know, I love movies, Greg. I'm a movie guy. The reason I make movies is because I grew up on movies and I love them, and I want to replicate cinema that I love, and, you know, make my own art that's inspired by, you know, great films that came before mine. And hopefully mine will do the same for future filmmakers. I'm always excited when young filmmakers come up to me and they're like, "Oh, James, I saw your movie in FYE," or, you know, like, "How did you get that there? You're so cool because you made a movie. Like, I want to make movies like you." It's, you know, it's an honor. It's neat.
You got someone named Leanne Hartley plays Werewolf Chow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting credit, Werewolf Chow.
Yeah. So, you know, people get eaten by the werewolf in their chow.
Is Frank Mullen supposed to be in that? I don't see him listed here. Is he going to be in Hiss and Swear?
Hopefully. I mean, he's in Killer Waves 2, so I filmed something for Killer Waves 2 with Frank Mullen, so he's in that. And hopefully that'll start shooting in a few weeks. Just really cool live alligators.
Oh, wow.
Killer Waves 2, so it's going to have some really cool kills.
Oh, wow.
Well, the first Killer Waves, but it's got live crabs in it, so, you know, and some other live animals, and I think that stuff's really cool because of Dr. Phibes, you know, the old Vincent Price movie where he'd kill people with, like, locusts and all that kind of stuff, so that's my homage.
Well, Sean Doucette's in this playing Max Monroe. You got a lot of people playing starving actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm supposed to play Douglas Weinberger. That's my character in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and of course, let's talk about Killer Waves 2, which I know you approached me on, so the answer is yes on my end. It's just a matter of when I can put this all together for you, but yeah. I like what you pitched to me for my character, so I'm open to that.
Yeah, Killer Waves 2, the killer comes back. So, if you know the first Killer Waves, it's about a killer killing surfers to make a human flesh surfboard. And so in the sequel, the killer unfortunately gets murdered, and then in an old Friday the 13th fashion is brought back to life by electric eels.
Oh, wow.
So now the killer is an underwater zombie unholy diver and uses aquatic sea life deep within its chest cavity to pull out like a Batman utility belt to kill people with like starfish and jellyfish and barnacles and all sorts of wacky underwater blood-based gags.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like what you pitched for me for my cameo. So I haven't figured out the second part of it, but the verbal part, I think I've got spot on what I'm going to do for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I can. This probably won't come out for a while, so you want me to talk about the on camera about the Killer Waves surfing competition, or what is it? Surfing competition?
Yes.
I can do that. Yeah, I can definitely do that. And I think I have some ideas something I could put behind me for pictures and stuff too, which should make for fun.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's your movies seem to you like? You got a lot of movies that are coming out or in post productions of stuff that you're starring in for other people. For your movies, I'm getting the sense that it doesn't take you very long to do these.
What's that?
I'm getting the sense it doesn't take you very long to do these movies.
It doesn't. So all of It Wants Blood was shot in 5 days. The whole film. I mean, when you make movies for 15 years, you get a handle on what you can do and what you can't do, and the quickest way you could do it and the most efficient way. And so, I think I've really accumulated a good cast and crew over the years, and I got a good thing going. So I'm just gonna keep going as long as I can doing it.
So, It Wants Blood. Would you say that's your best work yet?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the film is shot in 8K, which is the highest quality camera you could shoot a movie on. It's being edited by Caleb Emerson, who's an incredible editor. I mean, he cuts Tosh.0. He's been doing that for the last 10 years, and that's a national television show. So it's going to look real fancy, Greg.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I love the fact my scenes are going to be in, like, Lisa Langlois is a friend of mine from class of 1984. I see her when I go to Toronto. She's worked with Eric Roberts in a movie, and I told her that I'm going to be in a film with Eric Roberts, and she really dug that. So,
yeah.
So these performers that you approach, and I love the fact you're able to do that. Who's turned you down?
Oh, I'll tell you a good turn down story.
Okay.
So for the first Cool as Hell, Louis Anderson was going to play the devil. And he was like just about to do it. We were emailing back and forth. I was going to fly out to Las Vegas to film with him. And it was right before he got that Fox TV show. They did some kind of celebrity diving television show. And he didn't do Cool as Hell 2 because he did that Fox diving show. And then he went on to be on another Fox show called Baskets, which he won some kind of daytime Emmy for or whatever. So if he would have done Cool as Hell, he never would have won that Emmy.
Oh. Yeah. Well, we can't blame him for that, but it kind of sucks on your end, huh?
Well, I love Louis Anderson. I think he's a really funny guy, and I don't think I would have had Michael Berryman be the devil in I Swear Good too. I mean, Cool as Hell 2 if we would have got Louis. So I think Michael Berryman is a more appropriate devil than Louis Anderson.
Oh, Michael Berryman was great on camera. Like, did he improvise all that?
Yeah. I mean, I give him a jump off, but yeah, he pretty much was at the wheel.
Oh, because he was great. Great introduction there. Another couple. There's so many funny scenes in Cool as Hell too. Like the guy that's throwing grapes at his friend there, and his friend seems to avoid death, and when he does die, it's in this most stupid way.
Right.
That was great. Another one, I love the two dudes with food.
Yeah, two dudes with food. Really good stuff. Ken Holmes and Greg Boya. Funny guys.
Those ones were really funny, and I know there's other ones that come to mind, but a lot of these are really funny. And I love the fact you're able to poke funny yourself, because you always seem to play a guy that seems to think that he's got everything together, but the reactions from everybody around him are the opposite. So, have you ever had any of these people that you've approached ever be rude to you about a cameo?
Yeah, I got a wacky story about that. Not to speak ill of the dead, but the wrestler Chyna, I had asked her at a convention if she wanted to do a cameo, and she was kind of coy. It was really weird. She was like, "Oh, maybe, I don't know, send me an email." And I was like, "Oh, okay," but I was a celebrity guest at the show, and then I had asked professional wrestler Al Snow to do a cameo, and he said yes. So I had Al Snow, and Al Snow was sitting at the table next to Chyna, and so the next day I came by to get Al Snow to do his cameo, and then I tried to squeeze Chyna in there, and so Al Snow is sitting there, and I go, "Hey Al, are you ready?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then Chyna is sitting there, and I go, "Hey Chyna, would you like to do a scene with Al? I'd love to get you in a movie." And she starts screaming at me, screaming like a lunatic. "Well, I said I didn't want to do it." Ah, ah, like a maniac, Greg, like a lunatic in a funny farm, screaming.
Wow.
Chyna, professional wrestler in Playboy. And like I said, the day before, she was just kind of coy, didn't say no, was just kind of like, Then she is screaming, like I murdered her best friend. And she's like, "I said I didn't want to do it." And then I was like, "Oh, okay." And then Al backed out of the movie because of that outburst. So I had lost my Al Snow cameo because, Chyna was unfortunately on lots of drugs, which ended up killing her only a few weeks later after that incident. I think it was maybe a month and a half, and she was dead as a doornail. Like I said, not to speak ill of the dead, Greg,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that's my celebrity that went crazy on me story. And all I did was say, "Hey, would you like to do a cameo?" And like I said, crazy, like screaming, like making a scene, like you wouldn't believe. And I was dumbfounded.
Well,
And then I lost Al Snow because, she was a drug addict and then died from drugs.
well, I feel bad that Al backed
Don't
out of
do
it.
drugs.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do serious, crazy drugs. They will make you be crazy, and then they will make you be dead, kids. So remember, stay in school, and if you want to be in a movie, say you want to be in a movie. If you don't want to be in a movie, just say no thank you from the beginning.
Yeah. Wow. That is... So, I thought you had Al Snow in a movie.
I almost had Al Snow in a movie.
Wow.
And I really like Al Snow. I mean, I used to run around as a kid going, "What does everybody want? Head."
Well, why wouldn't he just do it,
Well, because that's what I'm telling you, Greg. She made such a scene, such an outburst, that how could he? You know what I mean? He had to sit next to her for the rest of the weekend. I believe it was Saturday, like in an afternoon. So, or Sunday in the early morning. You know what I mean? He had to sit next to her continuously, so he couldn't get up, do the cameo, and then come back and sit next to Chyna. Not to mention that he's known her for years. You know what I mean? He doesn't know me. He just met me over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
And the way she was screaming, it made it seem like I was, harassing her or doing something crazy, which all I did was come to her table the day before and ask her, "Hey, do you want to be in this movie? I am also a guest, and I'm signing autographs 100 feet away from you in another row. Would you like to be in my new movie? Here, I've worked with all these other celebrities and all these other pro wrestlers. I'd love to have you in a movie." And she could have just said, "No, thank you." But instead, she was just coy, and then I asked again, and she went crazy. Crazy. But it was all understandable when she died a month and a half later. So, and it's a shame because, like I said, I was a big fan. I mean, her Playboy issue was a coming-of-age relic for me.
Yeah, but you know what? Fan or not, when it's kind of like the Kevin Smith story about Bruce Willis. You know, he loved Bruce Willis until he worked with him, you know? It's pretty bad, like, when somebody's ignorant, you know, and unlike that. And I think she could have handled that in a much better way. It's interesting you say that because I'm not going to give any names here because I never know if this person's going to come back to me, but I reached out to somebody for an interview here recently, and she said she's available for the last 2 weeks of August. So, and I told her what times I had available. But when I come into the studio here, I need to look at the schedule to see, because I got other people use this, so I need to make sure there's time cleared. So I gave her a call, and she picked up, and I guess she was in the middle of set to go to an appointment. So she had to cut me off quick. So I called her later that evening like she asked. Never heard back from her. I must have called her a good 3 or 4 times. Never picked up. I sent her an email today. I've sent her a text. I even sent her a message on Facebook. And I'm like, my goodness, like, what is this? And stuff like that, you know, the communication thing, it's like, communicate, people. Like, I don't bite.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, you know, I thank you for doing the Doubtfire Face Challenge, but that's another thing, too. I have given to a lot of charities for people to do the Doubtfire Challenge because I'm trying to get the industry involved. And I don't know how many, like, I give to a charity for somebody, and then I would have to keep after them to do their... In the Doubtfire Challenge, I'm not asking for money.
Right.
But I'm giving money to their charity. And then I feel like I'm hassling them to do this. And that kind of pisses me off too, you know? So I kind of know where you're coming from, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's unfortunately how you had that run-in with China. And but you did get other wrestlers, at least, you know. I'd take Jake the Snake over Al Snow any day, so...
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Al Snow. He was just in a bad situation, you know what I mean? Like I said, he had said yes, and if I would have just filmed his cameo and not tried to double up, you know, and been greedy, I probably wouldn't have Al Snow in a movie.
You weren't being greedy, you asked.
Yeah.
All she had to do was say, no thank you, I'm busy or something like that. She didn't need to make a scene. There's no call for that.
Yeah,
you know?
well, you know, like I said, Greg, you know, she was on drugs and, you know, it got the better of her, and it's a sad story because she was a talented wrestler and a good performer. But what are you going to do? That's life sometimes.
You ever think you'll get Jim Cornette?
I'd like to. You know, I'd love to get Bob Backlund in a movie also. He put me in a cross-faced chicken wing at a convention, and he, just like Nikolai Volkov, was stiff. I mean, my neck was sore for like a week. Bob Backlund, so I'm looking to get him back. Put him in something wacky.
Yeah, somehow I don't think you're going to win.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, and he's somebody that didn't have to do steroids or anything like that. That's why I don't care much for wrestling now. What Vince calls a wrestler and what wrestling actually is are two different things. And I think Vince is very delusional when it comes to it. And your movies are also in the process of getting Blu-ray releases, am I right?
You are right.
Yep. Well, I remember I ordered Cool as Hell 2, but instead of getting it on DVD, I prefer to get it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you see that order for the DVD, I prefer the Blu-ray. I get all my stuff on Blu-ray. Yeah. Yeah. So is any of your stuff on Blu-ray yet?
It is not. But you can see it on HD on my Vimeo channel. Just go to askaboutproductions.com, and you can see all the films in HD.
Okay. Well, I've been very happy to have you back on here to do this again. You got any conventions coming up that you want to plug on here?
I do. I'm going to be in CT Horror Fest in September with Carmen Capobianco. That is a Connecticut Horror Fest, and some people from Saw are going to be there, and me. So go to AcidBathProductions.com and check out CT Horror Fest. I'll be there in September.
Are you going to get some people from Saw to cameo in your film?
Oh, we'll see. I'm sure I'll scoop up somebody.
Yeah? Is there anybody that you really, really want to get in your film that you think that are obtainable, but you haven't got to approach them yet?
Well, I was really honored to be the last person to film Dick Miller in Eben McGar's Hanukkah. I was a producer on that movie, and Sid Haig's in it,
mm-hmm.
and Charles Fleischer,
mm-hmm.
and Dick Miller came out of retirement to do that movie, and then sadly he passed away a few months after we filmed. So I was the last person to ever film Dick Miller.
Wow. You want me to give you my Dick Miller story?
Yes.
He passed away in January of this year. 5 months prior to that, on August 31st, I believe, he was on my show.
Oh, wow.
I was so fortunate to get him when I did. And I didn't even have him on my list to people to contact. But it was like, wow. I got him and his wife came on. His wife was in The Graduate.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. So she came on with him. And I don't have that one up public yet. It's coming because I put one up every 5 days on YouTube. So your first one's up there. I don't know when this one will be aired here before it goes up on YouTube. But yeah, Dick Miller was a wonderful guy to interview. And he was the first guy I'd interviewed that had passed away. So I was glad that I reached out when I did. And I was so honored when he said yes. It was like, wow. And he was a great, humble guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that your one convention you got?
That's the one convention I've got, and I'm planning a movie tour, as soon as It Wants Blood is done. I literally met with Caleb Emerson 2 days ago, who's editing the movie, and it looks amazing.
You know what? I'm going to get you some numbers, like for the Cineplex head office, and for I think Sean Doucette in Moncton says they get Trinity there. We don't have it here in Fredericton. And I'm going to look into Toronto. I'm going to get you some head office numbers that you can call. And it'd be great if you can get a screening of it here, so I can go check out this on the big screen. So I'll get you some numbers, and you can make some calls and see what we can make happen, because I'd love to see this on the big screen if possible.
Oh, yeah. It's going to look great on the big screen also. So
yeah.
Really excited.
Well, now, when you're at these conventions, what's the most interesting thing you've ever been asked to sign?
A skull. Somebody brought some kind of animal skull, and they asked me to sign it. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a dog. It was like a bobcat skull. And I was like, why am I signing this? And they were like, just sign it. I want you to sign this. And of course, I signed the skull. So I'd say that takes the cake for weirdest. I've signed boobs and arms and legs and T-shirts. I always think it's interesting when somebody wants me to sign a T-shirt. It's like, don't you want to wear the T-shirt? And they're like, yeah, I want to wear it with your autograph. I think that's a weird one. But the skull, the animal skull, that's definitely the weirdest.
Here's a question I have. When I interviewed Genevieve, of course, we talked about Jacko Slasher and your cornfield love scene. How was it doing a scene like that? And I'm not saying that in a perverse matter, But how do you prepare for it? You and her mentally get into that and the process of doing a scene like that.
Well, Greg, I had never met Genevieve before that night. And I'm a pretty easygoing guy. You know, I've had experience with getting fellatio, so as an actor, you know, I like to reach in from experience. And so I just imagined what it would be like to get fellatio in a cornfield. You want to hear an even crazier story?
Okay.
That here's a wacky story. I was dating a different girl, and they were filming Jacko Slasher in some kind of haunted house that had a real cornfield next to it.
Mm-hmm.
So before the cast and crew came out, you know, filmmaking is a very slow process.
Mm-hmm.
I had brought a girl with me, and I had took her into that cornfield, Greg, and I had made sweet, sweet, corny love to a girl in that very cornfield that I get pretend fellatio from Genevieve Rossi. Only maybe an hour before everybody came out to do that scene. So I was already ripped, roaring, ready to go for a second round. You know what I mean?
Well, of course, you got to plug your webpage on here.
Yeah, go to acidbathproductions.com. Get all your cool Acid Bath Productions t-shirts, action figures, hot sauce, and all your cool Acid Bath movies, which you could also get at Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble. Just type James Balsamo into Google, and I'm sure all your fancy movie selections will come right up there.
What action figures do you have?
I'm sorry?
What action figures do you have?
Oh, there's a Bugar action figure, and there's an American Executioner action figure, and there's an Unholy Diver action figure.
What action does Bugar do?
And there's a James Balsamo action figure.
Is this action in the cornfield?
Oh, yeah, it can be. Corn sold separately.
So what does Bugar do as an action?
He gets boogery.
Do you have a Lich action figure or an Az action figure?
I actually do have a Lich action figure, and it was sculpted by David Arwofsky, who used to make the Ninja Turtles action figures.
Okay.
And he did the Beetlejuice toys in the 90s, as well as some Star Trek figures, like the Picard action figure and all that stuff.
Well, James, what else is coming up in the future before we wrap up here?
I just announced a new movie that I'm doing called Nightmare Party Twerk of Terror. And so it's a dance slasher film about a killer using the old Nutcracker costumes. So you've got the Nutcracker, the Rat King, and then a ballerina with an executioner mask are killing all these hot twerking dancers.
You gonna have Miley Cyrus twerking it?
I would hope so. That she's got a great twerk.
Maybe you can get Genevieve.
Yeah,
She could be the ballerina executioner.
she could be.
This sounds like a great idea.
Casting for that now. Dan Beazle, who draws the Guar comic books, just sent me the proof for the art for that. So.
Oh, I love the art on your movies.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, those are great. Yep, and I appreciate too. You got me in some couple trailers, do you not?
I do. You're in the Castle of the Day 2 trailer.
Okay, when's that coming out?
Hopefully that'll be at the end of the month.
Am I going to be in the Hollywood Werewolf trailer?
You know it.
Yeah. Well, I'll help. I'll do some support on Killer Waves 2. And what'd you say this Nutcracker one was going to be called again?
It's called Nightmare Party Twerk of Terror.
Oh, that sounds interesting. And it's a slasher?
It is a slasher film.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm already intrigued on that one. Where do you come up with these?
Oh, drugs. That China left behind.
You need to see if you can get the Trailer Park Boys in your movies.
Yeah, they're great.
I think they'd be...
one of them in Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yep. Yep. Rob Wells, who plays Ricky, was in Hobo with a Shotgun. Met a nasty demise, though.
Yeah, what a great decapitation.
Yeah. Well, James, you got anything else you want to promote on here before we close off?
I would think that's it. I've got 2 other movies I totally forgot to promote.
Go for it.
Mind Melters, which is a collection of my first 33 short films that I made before I started making feature films. And that comes out worldwide August 17th. So go get that. That should be everywhere. And then I also released a collection of music videos from bands that I was in over the years. I don't know if you know, I play multiple instruments. I play guitar, bass, and I sang in a bunch of bands. I also dabble in keyboards, and I'm not a great drummer, but I can keep a beat. So, I've been in bands over the years, and that's called James Knows How to Rock. And that's, like I said, got old music videos from a bunch of bands that I've been in. And I was in a Guar knockoff band. We wore costumes. And we had a 7-foot robot badger fight another robot on stage. And, wacky stuff. I'm a wacky guy.
Let's not forget your Bad Puns joke book.
That's right. Barnes & Noble has my bad joke book. Thank you, Greg. I've done so many things I don't remember what to promote anymore. Total Punishment is available at Barnes & Noble. It's got 100 bad jokes in it. And then if you like that joke book, you can get my second joke book, Total Punishment, at acidbathproductions.com. That is 200 bad jokes waiting for you. You want to hear a joke, Greg?
Go for it.
Did you hear about the Olympic gymnast that robbed the bank?
No.
She took the money and split.
I really want to express my thanks that you've asked me to cameo in these movies. I really appreciate it.
Oh, happy to have you on board, brother. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And when they're on Blu-ray, I'm happy to get them. I guess you got some box sets out now, too, huh?
I do, yeah. Acid Bath Productions Volume 1 is available wherever major motion pictures are sold, Walmart, Best Buy. And it's got my first 4 movies in it. It's got Hack Job, I Spill Your Guts, Cool as Hell, and Catch of the Day. And soon to be released, Acid Bath Productions Volume 2. And that's got Bite School in it, Killer Waves, The Lich, and Cool as Hell 2.
Oh, the first one I was in.
That's right.
Oh, wow. So are these DVD or are these going to be Blu-ray?
They are, right now they're DVD, but they will also be Blu-ray.
Okay. How's the process of getting these on Blu-ray?
It's a process.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
Because it seems to me, I'm one of these people that still gets Blu-rays, and I like to have a collection. It gives me ideas for interviews and whatnot. So, I would love to get these on Blu-ray.
Yeah. Well, they're coming.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. Well, anything further you want to promote?
I think we've covered everything, Chris.
Well, I'll definitely be in touch, so you never know. Maybe next year I'll have you on for a third time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go, I would love a plug for my show.
Sure, of course. Hey, everybody, James Balsamo here. You're listening to Greg Gilbert's Python Paradise. in New Brunswick, Canada.
Yeah, and of course, we love you, Genevieve Rossi. If you hear this, we both love you.
Yes, we love you.
Gee, it took you a minute to say that. She's going to be angry with you.
Yeah.
Do you wish you were in Attack of the Killer Chickens?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, she just directed that.
She did, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. She must be a real hoot to have in a film.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, John Dugan is in Attack of the Killer Chickens, and he really liked working with her.
Oh, I bet he got paid, and he's not complaining about that.
Well, she's a wild one, and that's exactly how we like her.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, James, it was a thrill and an honor to have you on here.
Oh,
and
it's always a pleasure.
oh yeah, I love seeing what you're going to do next.
Good, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, well, you have yourself a wonderful day, and best of success with It Wants Blood. I'm really looking forward to this.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great one.
You too. You take care.
Okay, buddy. Take it easy.
Yep, bye.
Bye.